AJ Styles confirms he has suffered a broken ankle and will be out of action indefinitely after suffering the injury at a WWE live event. We've got the preliminary ratings for Friday Night SmackDown featuring John Cena's in-ring return, and it's a big viewership figure. Got all the latest details on that. Shinsuke Nakamura returns to Pro Wrestling Noah as he defeats the Great Muta in one of Muta's final matches as a professional wrestler. Charlotte Flair comments on her return to WWE TV as she's won the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Braun Strowman receives an Intercontinental Championship match. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well and hope everyone had a happy new year. Wishing you a happy new year, the first day of 2023, the first video of 2023. And we've got plenty of news stories to get into in the world of WWE. And let's start off talking about the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, who now, his status for WrestleMania might be up in the air after he suffered a very serious injury just a few days ago at a WWE live event. We spoke about this on the channel, didn't we? But AJ Styles, it's not looking good for the former WWE champion because AJ Styles has provided an update on his injury following the December 29 WWE house show in Hershey, Pennsylvania. As previously reported and discussed here during the show, Styles teamed with Machine Gun Carl Anderson and Mia Yim and to face off against Finn Balor, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. And following a scary top rope spot, the referee threw up the X signal while Styles was down to the outside. Now, Styles was then helped to the back after the match, with the popular star reportedly struggling to put weight on his left foot. Now, for a while, we didn't really know what the situation was. Some people thought it was going to be a work that was going to bleed over to WWE television. That has happened in the past with AJ Styles during a feud with Randy Orton back in 2020. But Mike Johnson of PW Insider reported early on that indeed this was not a work. The injury was legitimate, and we were waiting to find out more details on the severity of the injury. Well, now we have found out those more details, and it's not good for AJ Styles. He's now provided an update through his official Twitter account confirming that he has suffered a broken ankle. Styles tweeted out, quote, "Just want to let you guys know that I'm okay. Broken ankle is what I'm dealing with. No surgery. This just takes some time to recover. This will be the longest I've ever been out of the ring. Thanks for the prayers and well wishes." And obviously we wish AJ Styles the best of luck in his recovery. Hopefully he can be back soon. But as he mentioned, this is the longest that he's going to be out of action for. And AJ Styles is one of the most durable pro wrestlers of the last 20 odd years. It really is true, because you think about it, Styles during his time in Ring of Honor and then TNA Wrestling, he never got injured, which is miraculous for the style, no pun intended, for the style that this guy has wrestled for, 20 plus years. The fact that he's never really, thinking about it, sustained this massive major injury is incredible, and his durability is something else. Now, I think that comes also down to AJ Styles' ring IQ. His ring style is far different and far less risky than it was 15 years ago in Impact Wrestling. You go watch some of those early AJ Styles match at the peak of the X Division in sort of 2003, 2004, 2005. They are nuts, absolutely nuts. And some of the stuff this guy was doing back then, even today, by today's standard, is considered insane. And his style is much different nowadays. It is. But the fact that he has suffered this injury, it sucks. It really sucks. And a broken ankle, again, it all depends on, and I'm no doctor. I'm not going to come on here and pretend I know everything about broken ankles, because I don't. But what you could say is it depends on the severity of the injury. It depends on the break. The fact that AJ Styles isn't getting surgery is clearly, I think, a positive. That, to me, implies that, if this was a real serious compound fracture, piercing the skin, or, you know what I mean, a really serious break, then he'd have surgery, he'd have pins put in his ankle, he'd have plates possibly put in. There'd be a lot of a reason and a requirement to maneuver things and put things back in the right places. Sometimes even re-break the ankle and do all that kind of stuff. The fact that he's saying there's going to be no surgery, it's just going to take time to heal, that would imply it's not a super severe break. I mean, it's a broken ankle, so it's not a great injury anyway. But that might suggest that maybe, depending on how quickly he does heal up, he could make it back for WrestleMania. One thing's for certain, he's not making the Royal Rumble at the end of the month. And I guess now it's a race to WrestleMania. I mean, WrestleMania's at the start of April. That's 4 months. To return from a broken ankle in 4 months would be quick. these things can sometimes take, again, it depends on the break. These things can take 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. They can take 18 months, depending on complications with the rehab and recovery. It might be a situation where after 3 months, they say, we thought it was going to heal on its own. It's not healed in the way we want. You're going to have to undergo surgery so we can surgically correct this. Again, that's speculation. So there's still not a lot of details about a recovery timetable or a time frame. If we do know that, of course, we'll let you know here on the channel. But let me know your thoughts on AJ Styles revealing he has broken his ankle and will be out of action indefinitely after suffering that injury at a WWE live event. The pro wrestling world is still buzzing after SmackDown on Friday, the final SmackDown of 2022, featuring possibly the biggest match, or one of the biggest matches of 2022. There's been some big matches this year, hasn't there? And it featured the return of John Cena to action inside of a WWE ring, and the ratings reflect the drawing power of the former 16-time WWE champion, because the preliminary WWE SmackDown ratings were revealed on Saturday by WrestleNomics' Brandon Thurston. And according to Thurston's report, the December 30 episode of SmackDown prelim rating was 2.441 million viewers. Thurston also noted that the final projected viewership could be actually around 2.6 million viewers. Yes, 2.6 million viewers for a pro wrestling program in 2022, going into 2023, ain't bad at all. That would mean if the audience was 2.6 million viewers, which is the projected number right now, that would mean that it's expected to be the highest SmackDown audience since late 2020. Now, during Friday's episode of SmackDown, John Cena returned to team up with Kevin Owens to defeat the Bloodline Sami Zayn and the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns in a main event. Unsurprisingly, it was noted in the WrestleNomics report that the second hour was slightly more viewed than the first hour, as would to be expected. People tuned in specifically to see Cena wrestle. Also during the show, Charlotte Flair made her return and defeated Ronda Rousey to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. We'll touch on that in just a second when it comes to Flair's response. Also on the show, Uncle Howdy attacked Bray Wyatt after Wyatt attacked the cameraman last week. Drew McIntyre returned to shave Sheamus from the Bloodline Solo Sikoa, and Braun Strowman challenged Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, which ended with Gunther and the other Imperium members, that being Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci, attacking him. Obviously, all the results are available online. But as reported, last week's episode of SmackDown saw an average of 2.376 million viewers. The December 23rd episode was actually the highest number since September 23rd and was an 8% increase in the previous Friday. The key demographic was also up 6% with an average of 717,000 viewers aged 18 to 49. The final ratings for the December 30 episode of SmackDown are slated to be revealed around Tuesday afternoon. We've got some bank holidays and some delays with the New Year's and the holidays and all that kind of stuff. So probably around Tuesday, most likely we'll cover it here Wednesday on the channel. But that number, 2.6 million, that's a strong number. That is a really strong number. And make no mistake, it's one of the best numbers, not that they've ever done on Fox on SmackDown, because you think about that debut show, it was nearly watched by like 4 million people. It was insane. But even that, the last time they had a big spike in viewership like that, for that, it was a December 20, I think it was the Christmas Day episode of SmackDown in December of 2020. And realistically, the reason they did that really big number is because there was football on that day. There was football on that day, and their lead into SmackDown was these football games on Christmas Day. So everyone was relaxing, enjoying the holidays, watching the football, and then it just happened to sort of tune into SmackDown. It faded into SmackDown, and they had this big number. Realistically, though, it was only the first hour that drew that big number. It's something like 3 million people tuned in because it was just the lead-in from the football. So that was kind of a big number, but not a big number, because was it really SmackDown that was drawing the eyeballs? No, it was the football. In this case, it's John Cena that's drawing the eyeballs. It's WWE that's promoted it. It's WWE that's booked it. It's WWE that's written it. And by bringing in Cena, and Cena, he wrestled. He didn't get too physical, but he wrestled to draw 2.6 million viewers. And again, that's not confirmed, so we're going to have to wait until the final ratings come in. That's very, very good. And that's why it was important to load up that show as well, because yes, you've got the outside eyeballs, you've got people tuning in to watch John Cena, but you have to keep them hooked. Can you retain that audience next week? Now, the answer will be no. You can't retain 2.6 million viewers for that first episode of 2023. It's just not going to happen. There is going to be a drop-off because John Cena's not going to be on the show. But if they can retain, let's say, 2.4 million viewers, that would be really good for WWE. As I mentioned, they were nearly close to 2.4 million viewers for that taped episode of SmackDown on December 23rd. So there is some real no significant momentum there with SmackDown right now. I mean, the ratings for Raw have been going like this. In the summer, they did peak back up because of the overhaul in the regime change and Triple H being involved. They've kind of tapered back down. It doesn't feel like there's a lot going on Raw at the moment. Does it hurt that they don't have a full-time champion? Absolutely. And they're probably looking to resolve that as we head into 2023 now. But SmackDown, it's got a ton of momentum. SmackDown, most of the time, is a largely enjoyable show to watch. It's on network television. I think Fox would be very, very happy with these numbers. You know, close to 2.4 million viewers, 2.6 if that final number is accurate. Realistically, that's probably the numbers they wanted from WWE when they first signed the contract back in 2018, heading into 2019. That was the hope. And really, the ratings being initially not fantastic for SmackDown was largely put up due to the pandemic. They said that the pandemic affected that. I mean, again, I go back to that debut on Fox was viewed by like 4 million viewers. And the fact that at some points in recent years, they've been like 1.9 or just scraping 2, they lost half the audience. Now, it's not to say that 2.6 is an indicator that they're getting the audience back. It's not. But I think it's a positive trajectory for WWE, and it's a positive trajectory for those that are in favor of Triple H booking the show. Whatever's going on SmackDown, it's working. It's just a case of, can they bleed that over to Monday Night Raw now? Shinsuke Nakamura wrestled in a match that wasn't for WWE. A very, very rare instance this happened today, New Year's Day. Shinsuke Nakamura made a stunning return to Japanese wrestling promotion Pro Wrestling Noah today. An unprecedented agreement allowed WWE superstar Shinsuke Nakamura being able to compete in Japan at Pro Wrestling Noah's January 1 event, the New Year Again, against the Great Muta. While the match did not disappoint, it must be said, I've watched the highlights before I recorded this video. Shinsuke Nakamura received a stunning entrance. You have to watch this entrance. It's brilliant at the event. It included his WWE theme music, which has become so closely associated with Nakamura now and quite iconic. Wearing a special new attire for the match, it ended up being a great night for Nakamura. Nakamura bested the Great Muta to pick up the pinfall victory after a hard-fought battle saw the two combatants leave it all in the ring. Not only did Nakamura continue through getting misted, the green mist, the infamous green mist by the Great Muta, he also kicked out of a fierce Shining Wizard. Nakamura then delivered a return miss to Muta, hitting his Kinshasa finisher and defeating the wrestling legend as part of his farewell tour of matches. This was Shinsuke Nakamura's first WWE or non-WWE wrestling event since signing with the company in 2016. And as I mentioned, I know that not a lot of people might be fans of Japanese wrestling or they're not that familiar with Japanese wrestling. I would recommend to go watch this match specifically if you can find it. There are highlights on social media, or go to Noah's Twitter account. They've got some highlights on there. They've got a real good video of Nakamura's entrance, which is fantastic, and the aftermath of the match of Nakamura sitting in the ring, green face from the mist. It was just a really fun match and a fun moment, and it's just a great example of WWE, if they're willing to play ball with other companies, which it feels like they're more willing to do so now than they have been in the past with this new regime. They can create great moments, and yeah, they're going to make money for Pro Wrestling Noah, but also it's about respect. It's about respect to the Great Muta, and Shinsuke Nakamura, I think, whilst he would have understood, he would have been frustrated if he couldn't do this match. And initially, the request in the previous regime was declined. Now things have changed a little bit. So go watch the match. It's well worth a watch, certainly. Charlotte Flair is back on WWE television, and she's the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Flair made her triumphant return to the WWE on the December 30 episode of SmackDown. Flair took to social media on Saturday to comment on her return and thank the WWE Universe for giving her a warm welcome back, saying, quote, "Whether you love to hate me, hate to love me, thank you, WWE Universe. I appreciate the warm welcome back. I missed you guys so much. I can't wait to give you my blood, sweat, and tears. New era, new victims, the people's queen. Happy New Year," tweeted Flair. As noted, Flair made her return after Ronda Rousey retained the SmackDown Women's Championship against Raquel Rodriguez. Rousey ended up defending and losing the title against Flair. The Queen won the match after she reversed Rousey's armbar attempt into a roll-up for the pinfall. Flair's win on Friday made her a 14-time WWE Women's Champion. Before her return, of course, Flair was last on WWE programming on May 8 at WrestleMania Backlash, in which she lost the SmackDown Women's Championship against Ronda Rousey in an I Quit match. Flair's last SmackDown match was on the April 22nd episode where she faced Aaliyah. It is interesting to note that back in November, Flair had teased her WWE comeback with Instagram posts of her wearing the SmackDown Women's Championship around her waist. While she was away from the squared circle, Flair got married to Andrade El Idolo in Mexico at the end of May, and she partnered with jewelry designer Rockford Collection, where she became the face of the company's Eminescence promotion for brand new unisex rings. But Charlotte Flair is back. It's still dividing opinion somewhat on social media, because everything does. Everything divides opinion on social media. But at the same time, I think SmackDown did need it. And it's one of these situations whereby Flair's back, she's a champion immediately. She's a 14-time women's champion. She's actually like a 16-time champion at this point. They don't count. They don't count NXT Women's Championship reigns. So if they did, she'd be a 16-time women's champion. She's going to beat her dad's record, clearly. The fact that she's won 14 women's championships. When was she on the main roster? She made her debut 2015. Is insane. It's nuts that she's won that in 7 years. It's kind of crazy. Nevertheless, I do think SmackDown needs it. The women's division needs it. I think the women's division is really struggling on SmackDown recently. And there's been talk about moving things around when it comes to WrestleMania, moving things around when it comes to the women's championship matches at WrestleMania. By all accounts, they want to now do Ronda Rousey versus Rhea Ripley. What that means for Becky Lynch, I don't know. Whether they go down the Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair route again, I'm not sure. What it means for Bianca Belair, I don't know, because I think the thought process was it was going to be Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair, and maybe they're going in a different direction, or maybe it's going to be champion versus champion again, even though I think after seeing the Roman Reigns situation, I'm not sure if I'm totally on board for that when it comes to the women's division as well. Speaking of titles, a title match has been announced, and for the first time since his return to WWE in September, former Universal Champion Braun Strowman will be challenging for a championship. In 2 weeks' time, Strowman will take on Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship on the January 13 edition of SmackDown. Strowman's last championship reign was as Universal Champion, and that was less than a year before his release from WWE in June 2021. Strowman has also held the Intercontinental Championship once before, briefly in the spring of 2020, before losing it to Sami Zayn at 2020's Elimination Chamber Premium Live event. Gunther's reign as Intercontinental Champion has been littered with emphatic matches against wrestlers of all sizes and styles, be it Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, or Rey Mysterio. Gunther has showcased an ability to have a great match with just about anyone he steps in the ring with. Gunther's most heavily praised defense so far has been against Sheamus at Clash at the Castle, a hard-hitting bout that earned Sheamus a standing ovation in defeat. Recently, Strowman has seemingly set his sights on Gunther, as he and his new tag team partner Ricochet have clashed in recent weeks. Again, we'll have to wait and see what happens when it comes to this title match. I still think Strowman will lose. I don't think Gunther will drop the championship just yet. There have been reports that possibly we could see Gunther versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. That's not confirmed at this point, but that's been rumoured. But I don't think... Look, Strowman beating Gunther would make sense in the sense of he's a guy that would be believable in defeating Gunther. I just think at this point, I don't see a reason for him to drop the bout. He's having fantastic matches. His reign is somewhat... not record-breaking because it's not the longest reigning, but it's the longest reigning in a long time since I think, 11 years, something like since Cody Rhodes's Intercontinental Championship reign back then when he introduced the old championship. So I don't see a reason for Gunther to drop it just yet. I want him to hold the championship all the way until breaking the Honky Tonk Man's record, and I think they should do that. Even if he faces Brock Lesnar, he can face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and Brock can beat him, but it not before the Intercontinental Championship. Not every match has to be a title match when you're a mid-card champion. So... it'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, maybe we see shenanigans and maybe Strowman wins, but I just don't know if I think that's the right move for WWE at this point. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below. Hope you had a fantastic New Year and enjoy New Year's Day. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.